On News Hour tonight, opposition leaders reject new law, decry intimidation. 18 killed in fresh Adama attack. Jigawa students, educationists seek justice after Walida's release. And on the foreign scene, DR Congo drone strike kills M23 spokesperson, 9 others. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa and thank you so much for joining us. Now we begin with political matters. Nigeria's opposition parties have rejected the newly signed Electoral Act 2026, describing it as a blueprint to manipulate the 2027 general elections. At a joint news conference in Abuja, opposition leaders demanded that the National Assembly reopen the legislation for fresh consideration in line with what they call the will of the people. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Leaders across party lines converge in Abuja with a common message that Nigeria's democracy is under strain. Despite internal differences, key opposition figures stood together to criticize the electoral amendment recently signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. They argued that certain provisions in the new law could weaken transparency and public confidence ahead of 2027.
Already, we are confronted with a citizenry that is increasingly cynical of our democracy and what it promises. The trust deficit widens exponentially on a daily basis. Citizen disengagement, voter apathy, the erosion of rule of law, and the desecration of our institutions have become emblematic of our democracy. Majority of our people are losing faith in democracy. This is a very dangerous trend, and that we only have to arrest by truly handing power to the people.
Speakers at the briefing accused the ruling APC of eroding trusts in the electoral system. They also alleged a resurgence of political intimidation and violence, warning that the current climate sets a worrying tone for the next general election.
What legitimacy in a country of over 200 million people, and only 10% of the electorates in 2023 came out to vote? Do the arithmetic. The entire votes for the presidential election was less than 24 million, which is just approximately 11% of the total number of the people. Is there legitimacy?
Buhari wanted electoral reform. So a few ministers went to him, convinced him not to sign, that if he signed, Russia will hack the system and impose the wrong president on us. And he refused to sign. The same people are now shouting electoral reform. Tinubu will one day shout for electoral reform. He will. If he doesn't shout, those who are supporting him will do what? Shout for electoral reform.
Today, there's no governance in Nigeria. The legislative arm is at its worst. The judiciary is no longer hope of the weak or the poor. We all know insecurity, killings and abductions is worse than even countries at war.
What you must bear in mind is that the collapse of democracy in Nigeria is going to lead to the collapse of democracy in Africa, because we are the largest democracy in Africa. These are some of the consequences that will definitely affect other democracies in Africa. So I will urge that, or I will call other opposition parties that are not here today to make sure that they are part of this movement of the unity of the opposition parties to ensure we restore our democracy.
The level of thuggery that has been introduced into politics now, it has never been this much. We haven't started campaign, and now you can imagine what will happen when we start campaign. The only reason that APC is desperate is because they're sure they cannot win the next election in a free and fair contest.
The opposition called on Nigerians to remain vigilant and defend democratic institutions, insisting that credible elections remain central to national stability. It, however, remains to be seen if the National Assembly will respond to the opposition demand for a review. Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, joining us via Zoom to discuss on the political development is Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us and good evening.
Good evening, it's my pleasure.
So we are talking politics. Do you think the opposition party's rejection of the Electoral Act 2026 is a sign of deepening crisis in Nigeria's democracy, or is it a tactical move to gain leverage in the 2027 elections?
I think it's a tactical move. It's a tactical move to gain mileage, leverage, to demarket the ruling party and draw sympathy for itself. I really do not see why the ADC chieftains, because they are majorly ADC, just lowering the NNPP and then trying to call on other political parties. This is not how to run democracy. You shouldn't demonize everything once it's not your way. Elections should not be rigged only when you lose. When you win, you should also appreciate the fact that election is a game of numbers. Let me speak directly to what they are calling for. This law, the Electoral Act, under which they want to revisit it, is barely a week old. It has not even been gazetted. You want it to be amended because it does not suit you. This is not how to play politics. This is how PDP played politics for 16 years. Now ADC is treading the same line. I don't think our politicians are behaving like statesmen. We saw what happened on the floor of the Senate when there was a vote on that clause 63, clause 60 sub 3, where 55 senators voted for and only 15 voted against that section with a proviso. So the ADC is trying to gain some sympathy, wants people to wants to leverage on the mood of the nation to now turn the table against the APC, and I think this is not the best approach that could be taken. It's not as if they do not have the right to say what they have said, but it should not just be my way or highway. This law passed through all the processes and it has not even been implemented. Why then do you want it amended? And we do know for certain that the alternative to this call is for the ADC to go to court. As I said in an earlier interview, we have had scenario like this in 2006, where the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties decided to go to court to invalidate a section of the law, which has to do with distribution of public funding for political parties. I think it was Section 90 of the Electoral Act 2006. And the court invalidated that, saying that it was not in sync with provision of Section 228 sub C of the Constitution. That was what CNPP under when Barrister Maxioku was the National Secretary of Conference of Nigerian Political Party. That's what they did. So the fastest way I would advise this is to go to court. If the court agrees with them that there are sections of the new law that is not in sync with democratic ethos, then the court can do the needful. But INEC had already announced the date for 2027 election, including the timelines. And you cannot now be changing the rules when even the timeline has been abridged. So by the time they now went, if the demand of the ADC under the pretext of opposition parties If it is granted, at what point are we going to have finality to electoral reform? And then how will INEC plan for the next general election? So for me, the train has left the station. They should accept their fate, prepare for election, and if they don't want to do election, well, it's within their right not to do it. Like I've said, the fastest way out for them is to approach the court if they have issues with any of the section of the electoral 2026.
Seeing the opposition has alleged that the new law could weaken transparency and public confidence in the electoral process, do you think these concerns are valid?
They are invalid. They are invalid. They are playing the politics of my way or highway. That's the politics that ADC is playing. They have lost. The party has refused to gain traction since July 2025 when they were unveiled. They've not been able to woo any of the serving governors to their fold. Even some of the serving senators who claim to have defected are yet to perfect their movement into the ADC. I mean, those who defected with Peter Obi on December 31st. Many of them have not gone to formally resign from their respective party and take on the ADC card. So for me, this is all a needless distraction at this point. It is not serving the national interest. They should just get prepared for the election and the electoral process. If they don't want to participate, like I said earlier on, it's within their right to withdraw, to boycott the next general election. But to insist that it has to be their way, it has to be the electoral reform must wear their own face, their own preferences, their own persuasion. It's not democratic. It is not. And I'm not speaking like this because I belong to the ruling party. I'm apolitical. I do not hold any political party card. I am not a member. The ADC chieftains are trying to whip up sentiment, trying to eat up the polity. It's self-serving, to say the least. It is self-serving. It is not the right approach at this point in time when all hands should be on deck in preparing for the next general elections. Like I said, they are dissatisfied. It is normal. Let them approach the court. The court can reverse or invalidate any section of the law. And I've given you instance where it has done so in the past. But to insist that this is undemocratic and all of that is just trying to whip up unnecessary sentiments. If they are able to do if they are able to get their acts together, now they are planning to have their congresses and convention by next month, and next month starts over the weekend. If they are able to get their acts together, have their structures in place, they can still be a party of record, because I know that there will be an implosion in APC before the next general election, and they will be in a poor position to harvest those who will be defecting from APC after the party primaries, because I know many who have gone to APC when they are in search of tickets. And with this consensus option and direct option as the only means of party primaries, I know it's a matter of time before those who don't get tickets in APC will start looking for alternate platform. So it is for the ADC to get its act together, put together a robust party structure that will appeal to Nigerians. I understand that they are already doing party registration and revalidation. That's the way to go. Let them build the party to a winning party. Right now, the party is fluid, is in transition, and that they should not be in a hurry to start winning. There are hold all wars. The more all those people that were interviewing in that footage before this interview were all members of PDP at some point before some of them crossed over to APC, and because of disaffection, they now found themselves in ADC. So, soldier go, soldier come, barracks remain. They should not eat up the politics unnecessarily. They should concentrate on molding their party into an election-winning party, and with time, Nigerians will be in a position to judge which of the parties they want re-elected in 2027.
All right, thank you so much, Didier Odo, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for joining us this evening.
It's my pleasure. You enjoy the rest.
Now move on to more stories. At least 18 people have been confirmed dead after gunmen attack Shuwari community in Madagali local government area of Adamawa State. The attackers, suspected to be members of Boko Haram, reportedly stormed the village and opened fire on residents. Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintri has visited the community to commiserate with families and assess the damage. Trust TV's Gibson Swadigo reports.
Shuwari community is in mourning. Gunmen invaded the village, killing no fewer than 18 people and burning homes. Families are now burying their dead as survivors try to come to terms with the scale of the loss. Residents say the attackers arrived at night, firing sporadically and forcing many to flee into surrounding bushes. Security personnel have since been deployed to prevent further violence and restore calm.
These criminal people come and kill our people, about 18 people here. So the problem of this place here, as we told just a few minutes ago, is problem of gun. We need strong gun because these people, they have a strong gun, and our boys here, some of us are not sleeping.
Governor Fintri, during his visit, condemned the attack and described it as barbaric. He directed relevant agencies to provide relief materials to affected families and pledged support for those who lost homes and loved ones.
These are innocent citizens that needs to have been protected by us as a government. But they were murdered in cold blood by these unwarranted activities of the Boko Haram. But I think we'll continue our best to ensure that we strengthened the security architecture around them in this community. And I think we have started. The forest guards that were trained, if you look around today, they were armed. And we will further continue to arm the other hunters and vigilantes within the community so that they can form collaboration with the military.
Shuwari, a border community near Sambisa, is witnessing its first major attack since the Nigerian military reclaimed Madagali from insurgents in 2014. For residents, the fear is that the violence may not be over. Gibson Soadgo, Trust TV News, Yola.
Now, suspected Lakrawa terrorists have attacked a mosque in that Nkwa community of Meyawa local government area of Kebbi State, killing 6 worshippers and injuring 3 others. The gunmen reportedly stormed the mosque on Wednesday evening while residents were observing prayers and opened fire indiscriminately. The Nigeria Police Force spokesperson in the state, Bashir Usman, confirmed the incident, describing it as a reprisal attack following a failed ambush on a military convoy. According to him, the incident followed an earlier attack on troops of the Nigerian Army on February 24th, when the general officer commanding of the 8th Division and the commander of Sector 2 of Operation Fansanyama, Bengba Kona, came under attack while traveling to visit frontline troops in the state. Police said 5 worshippers initially died from gunshot wounds sustained during the mosque attack, while 3 others were injured and taken to nearby medical facility for treatment. However, local sources later confirmed that 6 victims were eventually buried following funeral prayers conducted according to Islamic rites. Now with us in the studio is Dr. Sani Aliu, security expert. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me on the program.
We have seen the recent wave of security attacks. How do you explain the rising attack of insurgency over the last couple of days across North Central and Northeast?
Well, this is because there are no mitigating agency that is factored in this whole arena of war against terrorism in Nigeria. You gain a little, you lose so many. We need, as a country, to institutionalize what is called counter-terrorism agency, just like American government do have Homeland Security. We need such arrangement in this country where this organization will be given the mandate, constitutional mandate, to actually fight terrorism for all aspects of fighting terrorism, from the kinetic aspect to the non-kinetic aspect. And the lack of constant reach out to these communities, the lack of the open space, the ungoverned space in these communities causes all this reprisal attack. When you go to a community and you cannot find a single outpost of a security outpost. I traveled sometimes to Sokoto, and I went to many of the villages there. You'd be surprised to see a very big village without a police station, without the presence of any form of security. And so government is not felt, government is not heard. And remember, the first constitutional agreement with the government and Nigerian citizens is to protect their lives and properties. And I cannot understand where government will say they are protecting lives or properties of the citizens and they have any security agencies stationed in these ungoverned spaces. So we are over 200 million people, 230 million people, and we have total security force in Nigeria less than 1 million. It's a far cry to the actual need of the country. And it doesn't speak very well of Nigeria as a serious country. So the fact is that the government need to institutionalize a specialized agency that will be saddled with the responsibility of fighting terrorism outrightly in all aspects of fighting terrorism and banditry.
There used to be some kind of ceasefire during Ramadan. What is different this time around?
The difference is that Americans have come to Nigeria. I will not mince my word. We know in American, what do you call them? Do you call them legislators, or what do you call them? They used to have what is called budget to sponsor Boko Haram in Nigeria. It wasn't longer an allegation because it was out there in the media space. And even the President Trump said he was not going to agree with such phantom programs that are not real in the country. Those are the channels conduit used to channel finances to Boko Haram and so on and so forth. So if America is interested in our economic space in Nigeria today and they are sending in their military, of course, they won't have any reason why they should be in the country when there is all these reprisal attacks all over the place to show that, yes, we really need them. But the truth is that we don't need America to solve this problem. We have entered, I insist, we went into civil war earlier. Without America, no any country in the world that has come to solve our problem. We are able to solve our problem. We are over 230 million people. We have over 70% able youths in this country. And we can solve this problem ourselves if our government can just create that platform for us to participate. It is not. It is nothing that we cannot solve by ourselves, unless the government is just playing politics about the whole of this thing. But playing politics with the lives of Nigerians, this is so bad. It is very, very disheartening that almost 17 years, almost 2 decades, up to today, we are still losing lives in hundreds in this country. No, it's bad. Americans will never solve our problem. They only come to their interest is to disorganize Nigeria, to actually make Nigeria a pariah state. They said it before that in 2015 Nigeria is going to break. So now they were unable to break it from far America, so they want to come into Nigeria now and break it. So they started creating disharmony between the Christians and Muslims, showing that they are interested to save Nigerian Christians, that Nigerian Christians are only attacked. Those people that are dying now, are they Christians? The people that were killed in the mosque, are they Christians? The people that were killed in Kwara, were they Christians? So, I mean, if Nigerian government did not give them that space, they wouldn't have that chance to come into the country. Like I said earlier, if the wall did not crack, the lizard wouldn't have the space to enter. So the government of Nigeria has left this crack opened, and so America now want to come and invest in it and start dictating to us that we should not go into a bilateral relationship with China or Russia. I mean, this is from the onset. You can see their directions. They only come to this country to balkanize this country, and therefore they cannot balkanize this country without all these reprisal attacks. So it's all sponsored.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sani Aliyu, for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Governor Bala Mohammed has visited Duguri Emirate following a deadly bandit attack, pledging justice for victims, stronger grassroots security, and closer collaboration with communities to dismantle criminal elements. The governor made this known during an on-the-spot visit alongside security chiefs after recent bandit attacks in Kafin Duguri. Trust TV's Admu Imam reports.
Governor Bala Mohammed, accompanied by security chiefs, embarked on the spot assessment tour of the affected communities, sending a strong message of his administration's zero tolerance for banditry and other criminal activities. The governor began the visit at the palace of the Emir of Duguri, Adamu Muhammad Duguri, before proceeding to Kafin Duguri, where residents recently confronted bandits in an attack that resulted in loss of lives. During the visit, the governor expressed solidarity with the emirate and assured the traditional institution of the government's commitment to safeguarding lives and property.
Women to bandits that came from Dajim Madam. I was told by the Commissioner of Police and other security agents and His Royal Highness, the Emir of Duguri, and even here by the Chief of Kavi, what happened. The doggedness, the courage exhibited by our people here. We are known for that. I am from here. I would have come earlier, but I had to travel to Abuja. And while I was in Abuja, I even discussed your troubles and your problem with His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he has asked me to convey his condolences to you, that he is with you. As the Commander-in-Chief, he heard what happened from me. And I told him the whole thing is coming from Wandaji Madam, that bandits have occupied, and our security agencies are overwhelmed.
I want to tell them that please, they should work with the police, they should cooperate with the police, and they should be vigilant at all times. If they see something, they should say something. I want to assure the district head of Kafi that the police are with you, the other security agencies are with you, and that the issues of weapons are being looked into.
Earlier, the Emir of Duguri commended the governor for his swift response and support, noting that the visit has strengthened the confidence of communities affected by the attack.
We have witnessed your efforts through your prompt response in providing food and support to the affected members of the community. The people of Kafin Duguri are truly brave. They deserve to be recognized as warriors of their time. They represented us well, refusing to let bandits act with impunity. The community overpowered the attackers and chased them away. Even the woman fired a gun during the confrontation. This was a remarkable display of bravery by the community vigilante guards.
Reports indicate that the bandits stormed Kafinduguri on more than 100 motorcycles and heavily armed, leaving 4 people dead and several others injured. Community members, however, resisted the attacks and eventually chased them out of the area. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, students of Government Day Secondary School Galadanchi in Dutse, Jigawa State, have welcomed the release of Walida Abdulhadi, describing it as a relief after more than 2 years of uncertainty. But beyond the celebration, they are demanding accountability for those allegedly involved in her ordeal. Trust TV's Ali Rabiu Ali reports.
There was visible excitement at Government Day Secondary School Galadanchi as students gathered to reflect on Walida Abdullahi's return. Walida had been missing for over 2 years and 7 months. She was reportedly taken away as a minor just months before her 16th birthday. Civil society groups alleged that during her absence, she faced abuse, forced religious conversion, and was made to give birth against her will. The claims have stirred concern within and outside the Jigawa State. Nafisa Haliru Haruna, founder of the Adolescent Education and Empowerment Initiative, said the school engagement focused on educating young people about their rights and the need to speak up.
We're here today to speak to young people about Walida's case. You know, we observe that each time there are issues, it's always being discussed within adults. So we thought that why don't we speak to young people and get their understanding of what the issue is and what they think should follow after the release of Walida.
She commended the Jigawa State government led by Governor Malam Umar Namadi for facilitating Walida's release after sustained public pressure and legal process.
My name is Firdausi Suleiman. I am a member of Adolescent Education and Empowerment Initiative. We thank the government for bringing Walida back home, and we want government to make sure that justice prevails for Walida's family.
My name is Firdausi Yusuf. I'm a member of Adolescent Education and Empowerment Initiative. We love you, Walida. Come back home so you can return to school.
The students say while they appreciate the intervention, justice remains their priority. They want a full investigation and prosecution of anyone found responsible. Legal steps to secure Walida's freedom reportedly began months ago with a court order. However, her release only came after persistent advocacy. For her classmates, her return brings hope, but they insist closure will only come when the legal process runs its course. As Walida reunites with her family, civil society groups and students say they will keep watching to see that justice is done. From Jigawa, Ali Rabiu Ali, Trust TV News.
Lawmakers at the National Assembly have reacted to a reported assassination attempt on former presidential candidate Peter Obi in Benin City. The incident has sparked calls for investigation, accountability, and restraint in political rhetoric ahead of future elections. The report.
The reported attack occurred on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, shortly after a political event at the African Democratic Congress ADC Secretariat as the group moved to a private residence in Benin City. Honorable Ifeanyi Uzokwe condemned the incident, describing it as a direct assault on Nigeria's democracy and constitutional order.
Is it a crime for Mr. Peter Obi to aspire to be the president of Nigeria? You can aspire to any position you want. It is your right. It will not call for attack. The social media attack, is it not enough on Peter Obi? If this administration fails to do anything,
they are attributing to P2B.
Uzokwe urged Monday Okpebholo to guarantee the safety of all political stakeholders and called on Olatunji Disu to ensure a transparent, independent investigation into those responsible.
The primary aim of any government is to give security, to protect the citizens from want and fear. How many of us here can sleep with our two eyes closed?
Meanwhile, Honorable Billy Osawaro dismissed claims linking the Edo State government or the All Progressives Congress to the attack.
When ADC had their own internal wranglings, the governor came out to state that it would be nice and proper as a former governor for His Excellency Peter Obi to relate with him as another governor of the state, to let him know, because as the chief security officer of the state, it is proper and it is also expected for him to protect a former governor coming to his state for an event. And I think that was with good intentions. But again, we know what politicians do. They will come in and try to blow the polity.
Osawaro emphasized that while Peter Obi has the right to visit any state, proper security coordination is essential, and he condemned violence in all forms, calling for peace and tolerance among stakeholders.
You will find out that the Nigerian people, the ones that are active in politics, are usually the ones that come out to perpetrate those havoc. But we want to discourage this attitude. The politics of bitterness should not have a place here in Nigeria. And it starts with us as the politicians.
As investigations continue, the incident has heightened concerns over political tensions and security in Edo State. Observers say the outcome of the probe will be critical in reassuring Nigerians about the safety of political participation and the protection of democratic process.
Those operation at the Lagos office of National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, were disrupted after members of the National Union of Food, Beverage and Tobacco Employers barricaded the agency's premises in Isolo, Lagos. The protest followed NAFDAC's continued enforcement of the ban on alcoholic beverages sold in sachet and PET bottles between 200 millimeters. Union members blocked the entrance and exit gates of the office, preventing staff from gaining access to the premises. The union is demanding the immediate unsealing of factories and production lines affected by the policy, warning that the sustained enforcement of the ban could have serious economic consequences for the industry. Earlier in the month, union members have also picketed the agency's Lagos office, accusing NAFDAC of ignoring an alleged federal government's directive to suspend enforcement of the ban. The union claimed that directives from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Office of the National Security Advisor called for the reopening of sealed production lines. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed 16th, 2027 January for the Presidential and National Assembly elections. The National Commissioner, Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, announced this in a statement issued on Thursday in Abuja. He said the governorship and State House of Assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, 6th February 2027. More details later. Now, we move on to more stories. The growth attraction to the electric motorcycle in Kano is driven by a mix of economic and environmental factors, especially since Nigeria's petrol subsidy removal. In Nigeria's most populous state, electric motorcycles, popularly known as e-bikes, are fast becoming a practical option for daily commuting. In this special report, Abdulaziz Ibrahim explores why electric motorcycles are drawing increasing interest in Kano. The report.
For decades, motorcycles have been the heartbeat of transportation in Kano. But with petrol prices remaining high, many riders are now turning their attention to electric motorcycles. These e-bikes offer lower running costs, fewer mechanical problems, and a quieter, smoke-free ride. Among those investing in this new trend is Muhammad Garba, a young entrepreneur who operates a solar-powered charging hub for electric motorcycles.
Compared to the bike that is using petroleum, this one is far more better because this one is maintenance free. If you charge it, it can cover, if you have 6 batteries, it can cover up to 80 to 100 kilometers. If you are to buy fuel, that will cover the particular kilometers. I think you may buy fuel of more than 4,000 naira. So this one is far more better and it is maintenance free.
Motorcycle dealers say the e-bike market is expanding rapidly, not only in Kano, but also in neighboring states.
Alhamdulillah,
the e-bike business is very lucrative these days. Even Jigawa State orders more because electricity there is better as they have less population than here in Kano. The prices have also been reducing and range from about 750,000 naira to 1 million naira. Here in Kano, motorcycles have always been the preferred way of moving around, and now electric bikes are taking that place. However, challenges remain. One major concern is the unstable electricity supply, which makes charging difficult for many riders. To overcome this, entrepreneurs like Muhammad Garba are investing in alternative power sources such as solar energy.
We all know that here in Kano we don't have electricity. So if you don't have a standard solar, you cannot charge the bike. So charging this bike play a vital role in the development of this business. We charge it at the rate of 150 naira per hour. The one that has 6 batteries, that one can take up to 7 hours. So you see it's 1,050 naira to be fully charged. If it is 5 batteries, maybe it can cover 6 hours or 5 hours. So the charging time ranges between 5 to 7 hours.
Still, some residents prefer traditional petrol motorcycles, arguing that they can be refueled within minutes while electric bikes require longer charging times. There are many reasons. First is reliability, because even if you run out of fuel, you can easily buy fuel even from the black market. However, places where you can charge your bike are very few. So imagine going to work and having to park your bike somewhere to charge, only to enter public transport again. Electric motorcycles may not completely replace petrol bikes in Kano anytime soon, but they are increasingly proving to be a cost-effective and environmentally friendly alternative. With entrepreneurs bridging the gap in power supply and growing interest among riders, the future of urban transportation in Kano may well be electric. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Inferno ravages Apollo furniture markets in Bayelsa State. This plus more will return. To stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, let's recap our top stories again. We told you opposition leaders reject new law, decry intimidation. 18 killed in fresh Adamawa attack. Now move on to more stories. A fire broke out in the early hours of Thursday morning at the furniture market in Opolo, Yanagwa. The blaze, which started around 5 a.m., destroyed properties worth millions of naira, including buildings, furniture, and woodworking machines. Shop owners say they lost everything and are appealing to the state government and well-meaning individuals for assistance to restart their businesses. Trust TV's Friday Ebumobue Peter reports.
These are visuals showing friends and sympathizers consoling the affected shop owners. Some victims sustained injuries while others fainted from shock and were rushed to the hospital for medical attention.
And they saw him yesterday night burning fire. And some people were there beside him approaching, saying, "Why are you burning fire?" He told them that they want to do night work and the fire is consuming mosquito also. So that's what they told me. And since that time, it's from that boy shop that the fire started. And since that time, I haven't even seen the boy.
Around kind of 5 o'clock, I got a call that everywhere here is burning. Reaching here, before I opened my shop don't catch fire to ashes. Even one pin I did not pick from my shop. You can see everywhere here now, nothing. And I beg government, make government come and assist us, because this thing that I'm selling here is I'm buying it by credit. Like last week, let me say 5 days ago, I offload goods here.
I'm not help because I'm not doing anything for granted to start. This morning, after I come and say, make I just say, shop the bond this side. I tell you, at every morning, yes, I will share everything when they start to put my machine, everything.
Superintendent Oyinda John, in charge of the Inspectorate and Investigation Unit of the Federal Fire Service, spoke on precautionary measures and stressed the importance of alerting the State or Federal Fire Service.
Well, we have always been saying this, that the fire service is your friend, and we have been paid for this purpose. So we will strongly advise that people who are in this furniture business should at least collaborate with the Federal Fire Service, the fire service in general, to have this first aid firefighting training, and also for them to get their first aid firefighting. Because despite that we are the first responder, they have a role to play. They have a role to play. At least at that incipient stage of the fire, they are supposed to attend to the fire before goes out of control.
The fire service also reminded residents that the toll-free emergency number 112 is accessible on all networks and should be used promptly in case of any fire emergency. As victims count their losses, authorities urge vigilant and timely reporting to minimize damage from future fire incidents. From Yenegua, Friday, Ebumobue Peter, Trust TV News.
The managing director of the Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, Ahmed Farouk, has carried out an on-site inspection of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport following a fire that broke out on Thursday, February 23, 2026, severely damaging critical air traffic control infrastructure.
Farouk toured the temporary control tower currently providing air traffic services and reviewed progress on a mobile control tower under construction, designed to restore full operational capacity. The fire caused significant loss, particularly to communication equipment, forcing temporary suspension of inbound flights into Lagos. He confirmed the aerodrome approach and area control services have been restored using backup systems deployed from other locations. Due to terrain challenges, the agency is currently collaborating with the Chinese construction firm on site to expedite civil works for relocating the mobile tower.
This is the fact that NAMA, we don't expect emergency situations, but we are highly professional, always ready to address this kind of unfortunate incident. I want to assure Nigerians and the flying public that the Nigerian airspace will remain safe because we take safety substance. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that no life was lost, and what we are trying to do now is to improve on what we have done so far, because we didn't move on to it immediately because the terrain was not good for us to go to sea. So we have to ask the Chinese firm that is working and here to help us with civil work.
Also visiting the airport was the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, who inspected the damaged old terminal. He clarified that the fire affected the building slated for demolition and reconstruction, not the new terminal. Keyamo confirmed that 6 persons sustained injuries, with 4 currently receiving treatment, and said the full assessment is ongoing to determine the total material losses. He added that 4 airlines previously operating from the D and E terminals will temporarily locate to a designated temporary terminal facility while construction continues.
It is not the new terminal that was affected. It is the terminal that we are about to pull down. And I won't say fortunately because there's nothing fortunate about fire. So even though we are trying to pull down this old terminal, there were certain equipments that were also needed to retrieve, certain persons that also needed to leave the old building for us to start work on the old building. So let me assure Nigerians that even before this fire, if you look behind, we had already made temporary arrangement to move most of the airlines, most of the entities in that space to the temporary place provided by the CCECC. What this has just done is to hasten our move away from the building.
Both NAMA and the Ministry of Aviation have reassured Nigerians that flight operations at Lagos International Airport remain safe and uninterrupted, with efforts ongoing to restore full operational capacity and accelerate reconstruction of the damaged terminal.
Now in business, the federal government has designated the cotton, textile and garment CTG sector as the flagship pilot for its new industrial value chain transformation strategy. This is in a bid to bridge the gap between policy and production. This comes as the government moves to operationalize the Nigeria industrial policy, which aims to improve productivity, scale industrial clusters and processing hubs, strengthening local raw materials utilization, and coordinate value chain development across priority sectors. According to the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investments 2026 outlook, the CTG sector will serve as a flagship value chain transformation pilot to support the transition from fragmented interventions to a coordinated, demand-anchored industrial ecosystem. Now, away from Nigeria, at least 9 people have been killed in a drone strike carried out by the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo in the eastern parts of the country. The strike, which took place on the 24th February near the strategic mining town of Rubaya, targeted fighters of the March 23rd movement, also known as M23. Among those killed was the group's military spokesperson, Willie Ngoma. However, the movement's military commander reportedly escaped the attack unharmed. According to information reported by Reuters, at least 9 people died in the strike, while as many as 7 additional casualties are feared. Authorities say more bodies may still be trapped at the site, though none have been recovered so far. And now it's time for us to join Adeni Ajishafe for Sport News.
Super Falcons are in Yaoundé, Cameroon, ahead of 2 international friendly matches between Nigerian and Cameroon senior women national teams on 28 February and 3rd of March, with both matches scheduled for Military Stadium, Yaoundé respectively. The 2 teams are using the games to attain solid shape ahead of participation in the 14th Women African Cup of Nations taking place in Morocco from 17th March to 3rd April 2026. Cup holders and 10-time champion Nigeria will contest in Group C of the final tournament alongside Zambia, Egypt and debutants Malawi, with their 4th match coming up against Malawi on 18th March in Casablanca. 2016 runners-up Cameroon are up against Ghana, Mali and debutant Cape Verde in Group D, with their 4th match against Mali on 18th March in Fez. Captain Rashidat Ajibade, Canada-based returnee playmaker Ngozi Okeogene is also in camp, alongside goalkeepers Comfort Erabo and Fatima Oloko. Defenders Glory Ogbona, Oluwatosin Dimei, Shukrat Oladipo and Kafaya Shitu. Midfielders Christy Uchebe, Esther Yenezide, Precious Christopher and Jennifer Echegini, alongside forwards Give Monday, Adekunle, Joy Omewa, Favor Unkocha, Falashade Jamilusi, and Rinsola Babajide. On Wednesday, the reigning champions trained at Stade Omnisport Amadou Ahidjo Annex, while they trained in the main stadium venue of the Super Falcons, 1-0 defeat of Indomitable Lioness in the final of 10th Women Africa Cup of Nations in 2016. Mexico-based wingback Chidima Okeke and midfielder Halimat Ayinde are expected in Yaoundé on Friday. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to catch us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa from me and the crew. Thank you for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.